Just a reminder, tonight our adult choir will be presenting a musical tonight at 6 o'clock. Hope you get to come out to that for our Christmas musical. And then next Sunday night, our children will be presenting their children's musical. So we're excited about that coming up in 2 weeks. Also tonight, after the adult choir musical, we'll be discussing our 2009 proposed budget. And so I know business meetings aren't always the most fun thing in the world, but they're necessary. So let me invite you to come out to the adult choir musical, and then after that, to look at the budget for 2009 as we begin discussion on that. You know, speaking of money, it's amazing to me how rich people are. I did a little research. Did you know, when you talk about rich, did you know that Steven Spielberg made $332 million last year? He makes almost $1 million a day. I mean, you talk about a rich person. I mean, you talk about Howard Stern, the shock jock, the filthy mouth guy on the radio, made $302 million last year by talking filthy on the radio. I mean, you talk about rich people. There's George Lucas. He made $235 million last year producing movies. $235 million just making movies. You got Oprah Winfrey, talk show host. You talk about rich. Oprah Winfrey made last year $225 million by having people sit in her chair talking to them along with her. I mean, you talk about rich people. And then you got the CEOs. We always hear about the CEOs, but they're not at the top of the list. I've read you the top people. The top CEO now is Larry Ellison, Lawrence Ellison of Oracle. He made $192 million last year. I mean, some people are just so rich. You got Jerry Seinfeld, who tells jokes. He made $100 million last year from telling jokes. You got Howard Schultz. If you like Starbucks, if you like drinking hot chocolate and lattes, $98.6 million last year. That's why it cost you $5 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. The Rolling Stones, the geriatric rockers, they made $90 million last year. I mean, you just wonder if one of them's going to fall off the stage and break a hip. Tiger Woods, $80 million for playing golf. $80 million for playing golf. Michael Schumacher, $80 million for driving a race car. Now we're getting to the poor people. Peyton Manning, he only made $42 million last year. Not very rich, I guess. Michael Jordan's not even play basketball anymore. Endorsements, he only made $35 million last year. Leslie Moonves, you know that we think that the TV people don't make much money. The CEO of CBS made $33.6 million last year. Shaquille O'Neal made $31 million last year throwing a ball through a hoop. Basketball. I mean, some people are so rich. They have so much money, making $1 million a day, some of them, making millions of dollars for playing golf or for telling jokes or for talking dirty on the radio or for producing movies or for making coffee. I mean, some people are so rich. It's amazing how rich some people are. Some people are so rich that they have a house with rooms in it they don't even use. Some people are so rich that they have houses in which they have a room with a bed and with a dresser and all sorts of stuff in their houses that are there only when the guests show up. Some people are so rich that they have a guest room in their home they don't even use. Some people are just so rich that they have a room in their house that has a big table and they have fancy special dishes that they only break out once or twice a year, and they heat and cool this room all year round, but they only use it for special occasions. Some people are just rich. In fact, get this, some people are so rich that in their houses they have a room. Get this, they have a room in their house. Some people are so rich they have a room in their house that they use for their cars to live in. I mean, some people are so rich that, it doesn't matter, their cars don't care, but they're so rich that they've got this special room in their house where they put their cars. I mean, some people are just rich. I mean, some people are so rich that they don't have just one car. No. They have 2 cars. And some people are so rich, they don't have just 2 cars, they have 3 cars. It's amazing how rich people are. Some people are so rich, the toys of rich people is phenomenal. Some people are so rich that they have not 1 television, but 2 or 3. And some people are so rich that a few years ago, when these new TVs came out that were a little bit thinner, some of the rich people got rid of their nice TVs that work just great, or put them in another room of their house that they don't use, one of those guest rooms that they just heat and cool for whenever somebody shows up. They moved those perfectly good TVs into those other rooms they never use so they could get a real thin TV in their front room. I mean, some people are so rich. Some people are so rich that they have these music devices that hold not 10 songs, but 5,000 songs. Who in the world listens to 5,000 songs? You would have to listen to that thing constantly. But some people are so rich that they have these devices that they can listen to 5,000 songs. And you know what really amazes me about rich people is rich people, they constantly upgrade. Some rich people have computers in their homes. And some rich people don't have just one, but they have one they can hold in their lap and one they can put on their desk. Because they're so rich, they can afford these things. And some people, though their computers are never good enough, after about 3 or 4 years, you always hear the rich people saying, I got to upgrade. It's just too slow. And I mean, some people are so rich that their music devices, it's not enough to hold 5,000 songs. Now, at Christmas time, we got to have one that holds 10,000 songs, as if you never got through listening to the first 5,000. And some people are so rich. They don't have 1 telephone. They got 2 or 3 telephones in their house. They're so rich. And not only that, but they're so rich that they don't even have telephones in their house. They wear them on their belts. Some people are so rich. I want you to turn your Bibles to 1 Timothy chapter 6 this morning. You may think these are unusual messages for Christmas, but I think you'll see where I'm going. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17. Instruct those who are rich in the present age not to be arrogant or to set their hope on the uncertainty of wealth, but on God, who richly provides us with all things to enjoy. I hope that you got my point at the beginning. If I had read that verse at the beginning, you would have probably been thinking, yeah, sock it to Oprah. Sock it to Steven Spielberg. Let those CEOs get it. But folks, the truth is we're rich. Did you know that 1 billion people in the world do not have access to clean water, while on the average day, the average American uses 400 to 600 liters of water? Did you know that every 7 seconds, somewhere in the world, a child under the age of 5 dies of hunger, while the average American throws away 14% of the food that they purchase? Did you know that 1 billion people live on less than $1 American a day? Another 2.5 billion people in the world live on less than $2 American a day, while the average American teenager spends $150 a week.